Starting with the great name of Allah, who is the most merciful and beneficent. Assalamualikum, my dear listeners. Welcome to Knowledge Syndicate. Today's lecture we will going to start tenses, the introduction to tenses, like what is a tense, and use of our different tenses, like use of past, present, and future tenses. So let us begin our today's lecture. So tenses. So the word tense means time. Tenses are somewhat related to time, like when we show the time of an action, or when the tense of a verb shows us the time of the action or event, like at what time that verb is being take place. So that is called tense. So we will take it from the example, like I write this letter to please you. Here I write. The next one is I wrote the letter in his very presence. So I wrote. And I shall write another letter tomorrow. So here I shall write. These are three verbs. So a verb may refer to present time, past time, or future time. In the first sentence, we can see the verb write refers to the present time. In the second sentence, the verb wrote refers to the past time. And in the third sentence, the verb shall write refers to the future time. So a verb, we can say that a verb that refers to present time is said to be in the present tense, like the verb which is showing us the present time. So it will be called present tense. For example, as in first sentence, I write. The next, the verb that refers to past time is said to be in the past tense. And for example, we can see in the second sentence, as I wrote. So the verb that refers to future time is said to be in future tense. So as in the third sentence, you can see that I shall write. So it is in the past, it is in the future tense because it is showing us something in future. So moving ahead, we have uses of these tenses, like how we use the present tense, past tense, and future tense. Or present tense, past, and future tense is further of four types. That is simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. So starting with simple present tense, in simple present tense, the helping verb is, am, and are used. These three helping verbs are used in the simple present tense. It is for your information, just okay. Now moving towards the uses of these tenses. Number one, to express a habitual action. For example, what is being happening in the present. So that habitual action, to express that habitual action, we use present tense, simple present tense. For example, my watch keeps good time, or he drinks tea every morning. So it is an habitual action, like it is an habit. It takes place daily at the same time, like he drinks tea every morning, or my watch keeps good time. I get up every day at 5 o'clock. So these are called habitual action. The next one is to express general truths. So to express the general truths, we use simple present tense. For example, honey is sweet, or the sun rises in the east. So these are general truths or universal truths. So to express those general or universal truths, we use simple present tense. And the next one is in exclamatory sentences beginning with here and there, to express what is actually taking place in the present. For example, here comes the bus, exclamation mark, or there she goes. So in those exclamation sentences which start with here and there, so here the word here and there are so important, like when exclamatory sentences start with here and there, to express those kind of exclamatory sentences, we use simple present tense. The next one is to express a future event that is a part of a fixed timetable or fixed program. Some future event that is fixed, that has been programmed earlier, and it is fixed, it has a fixed timetable. So express those events, future events, we use simple present tense. For example, the match starts at 9 o'clock, the train leaves at 5:20. So such kind of sentences, or such kind of future events that are fixed. So these are written in simple present tense. The next one is to introduce quotations. So when we write some quotations, so these quotations are always written in simple present tense. For example, Keats says a thing of beauty is a joy of ever, like, or Keats, or writer, or English writer, famous writer John Keats says a thing of beauty is a joy forever. So these kind of quotations, to introduce certain quotations, we use simple present tense. Now moving towards present continuous tense. In present continuous tense, we use the helping verb is, am, and are with ing. Continuous tense always comes with ing. The verbs end with ing. For example, okay, now moving towards the uses of these present continuous tenses. So the present continuous tense is used for an action going on at the time of speaking. Like when we are speaking and there is that action going on, that action is taking place at that time when we are speaking, so we use present continuous tense. For example, we say that boys are playing hockey, or she is singing. So these are present continuous tenses. The next one is for a temporary action which may not be actually happening at the time of speaking. So certain actions that are not taking place at time of speaking, but they are somewhat related to our present time. So for example, I am reading David Copperfield. So in this sentence, I am reading David Copperfield. That I am not reading that at the moment, but I am reading it in a present time. Like I am reading it now. Not reading at this moment, like when I am speaking, but I am reading it. So these kind of sentences also comes under present continuous tense. The next one is for an action that has already been arranged to take in near future, like in coming 5 minutes or in 10 minutes or in 1 hour. So that kind of actions are also written in present continuous tense. For example, I am going to the cinema tonight, or my uncle is arriving tomorrow. So these kind of sentences also come under present continuous tense. The next one is present perfect tense. So in present perfect tense, we always use helping verb has and have. So we use the present perfect tense to indicate completed activities in the immediate past. Like some certain actions or some certain activities that are completed in immediate past are written in present perfect tense. For example, he has just gone out, or it has just struck 10. So these are present perfect tenses. The next one is to express past action whose time is not given. To tell a certain past action or certain past activities whose time is not given, like whose time is not mentioned in that sentence. So we wrote those sentences in present perfect tense. For example, have you read David Copperfield? Or Mr. Harry has been to Japan. So these kind of sentences are come under present perfect tense. The next is present perfect continuous tense. So present perfect continuous tense is a mixture of present perfect and present continuous tense. So these are helping verb. We used helping verb has been and have been in present perfect continuous tenses. So for when we remove ing in the form of continuous, we wrote there been, and for the perfect we use has and have. So present perfect continuous tenses are used for an action which begin at some time in the past and still continuing. Like some action which begins at the past, which begins sometimes before, but it is still continuing in the present. So these to express certain actions we use present perfect continuous tense. For example, he has been sleeping for 5 hours. Like he has been sleeping for 5 hours. He is sleeping from 5 hours earlier and he is still sleeping. So these kind of actions which begins at sometimes in past but still continuing are come under present perfect continuous tense. The other use of present perfect continuous tense is it is used for an action already finished. The action that has already been finished, we use that present perfect continuous tense. For example, I have been watering the garden. So I have been watering the garden before I have finished that action, but it comes under present perfect continuous tense. Okay, here we are done with our present tenses. So moving towards past tense. Now, past tense is also in 4 kinds, like simple past tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense, and past perfect continuous tense. So starting with simple past tense. Simple past tense, in simple past tense we use the helping verb was and were. Simple past tense is used to indicate an action completed in past, like some action which is completed in past. So it was written in simple past tense. For example, she left school last year, or I received his letter a week ago. So these kind of sentences. The next one is used for past habit, like to explain certain past habit we use simple past tense. For example, he studied many hours every day. So these kind of sentences, the habits which were done in the past are called come under the simple past tense. The next one is past continuous tense. As I've told you earlier, in continuous tense, the ing is very important along with the verb. So we use the helping verb was and verb plus ing with the verb to denote our past continuous tense. Past continuous tense is used to denote an action going on at some time in the past, like some action which happened in the past. We will denote that in past continuous tense. For example, it was getting darker, like it was getting darker in sometime in past, but we are describing it now. So the next one is it is used with always, continually, etc. for persistent habits in the past. Like there were some habits there were always, we used always with them, or continually, like some person is always doing that habit, persistent habit in the past, we use the past continuous tense. For example, he was always grumbling. So these kind of persistent habits, like they were always, along with the always or continually. So the next one is past perfect tense. The helping verb had is used with in past perfect tense. Past perfect tense is used to describe an action completed before a certain moment in the past, like when certain action that has completed in the past, we describe it in past perfect tense. For example, I met him in New Delhi. I had seen him last 5 years ago. So here we are describing like a certain moment, like I had seen him last 5 years ago, like I have seen him before 5 years ago, like I have not seen after that 5 years. So the next one is if two actions happened in the past, it may necessary to show which action happened earlier than the other. Like when we are describing two past actions, so we have to tell that which actions happened earlier. So to describe so those actions, we use past perfect tense. For example, it is used as when we say that I had done my exercise when Harry came to see me. So Harry came to see me. So we have two past tenses, like I had done my exercise and Harry came to see me. So to describe it which action happened earlier, we use the past perfect tense, like I had done my exercise before when Harry came to see me, like I had done my exercise earlier, then Harry came to see me. So these kind of tenses come under past perfect tense. The next one is past perfect continuous tense. So past perfect continuous tense, the helping verb had been is used, been for the sake of continuous tense. Like when we remove ing, we put there been, and perfect we use had. So past perfect continuous tense is used for an action that begin before a certain point in the past and continued up to that time. So certain action that begin in the past at certain point, like they begin in the past and continued up to that time. For example, at that time he had been writing novel for 2 months. So these kind of sentences come under past perfect continuous tense. So here we are done also with our past tense. So now moving towards future tense. So future tense is also further of 4 kinds, like simple future tense, future continuous tense, future perfect tense, and future perfect continuous tense. So in simple future tense, the helping verb shall and will are used. Simple future tense is used to express the future as fact. Like there is certain fact we in future, so we describe it in simple future tense. For example, it will be Diwali in a week. Like it is a fact that Diwali will happen. So we use it as in future, simple future tense. Simple future tense is also used when we say, when we about what we think or believe will happen in future, like what is going on in our mind that will happen in future. So it comes under simple future tense. That is, I think Pakistan will win the match. So this is our mindset, like Pakistan will win the match. So it will happen in future and it is something we think or believe. So that comes under future, simple future tense. Simple future tense is also used like when we decide to do something at the time of speaking. Like I am speaking now and I decided that I will do reading after this. So these kind of sentences came under simple future tense. So the next is future continuous tense. In future continuous tense, shall and will are used along with ing with verb. So future continuous tense is used to talk about actions which will be in progress at a time in the future. Certain actions which will be in progress in the future at a time in a future, like something that will be in progress in a future, so that comes under future continuous tense. For example, we can say that I suppose it will be raining when we start, like when we start certain work, so it will be raining. So these kind of actions that will be in progress in the future. So simple future continuous tense is also used when the event which are expected to happen in the normal course of thing, like certain events that will happen in normal course of thing, like normally we can say. So that kind of future continuous tense came under future continuous tense. For example, I will be staying here till Sunday. So it is an event that is expected to happen in the normal course of things. So this comes under future continuous tense. The next one is future perfect tense. So future perfect tense, we use will have and shall have in future perfect tense. So future perfect tense is used to talk about action that will be completed by a certain future time. Like there are some actions that will be completed in some time in the future. So those actions came under future perfect tense. For example, I shall have written my exercise by then, or he will have left before you go to see him. So these kind of sentences came under future perfect tense. The next one is future perfect continuous tense. So in future perfect continuous tense, will have been or shall have been is used. Future perfect continuous tense is used for action which will be in progress over a period of time that will end in the future. Like there are certain actions that will progress in the future and they will also end in the future. So these kind of actions came under future perfect continuous tense. For example, I'll have been teaching for 20 years next July. So these kind of actions. One more thing, that future perfect continuous tense is something not very common. This tense is not very common. It is used very it is used in very minor things. So it is not very common. So here we are done with our today's lecture. Hope you guys are clear, and if there is any ambiguity you can ask me in comment section.